sister. Welcome to Body Story.
Afternoon. Thank you. Thanks, sis.
Thanks for being here. Please introduce yourself. Please tell everyone who you are, where you live, what you do, and why you said yes to telling your body story today.
Yes, so my name is Noel Benitez. Well, my full name is Tiffany Noel Benitez, and I actually live in DC, and quite a famous area, which is U Street, which is a very lively little scene around here, and it's exciting, and I love it. And then I have my own business, which is Unparalleled Eye Design. So I do home design, and sometimes I work on some commercial spaces as well. And I absolutely love it. It is just a really special gift in my life. And
You're
then
incredibly talented.
thanks, Edmana. Thank you. And I
Why did you
believe,
say yes?
well, I said yes because, I mean, in all honesty, the number one is, of course, I'm supporting you and this, journey that you're building for, yourself and other young women. And I think it's just the path that we need to be taking now.
Mm,
So
yes.
I don't believe I've thought as much about my body story as, you have, especially in the last couple months, weeks, but it's like, the truth is we all have one. And I thought, hey, I'm happy to tap into something like that. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm happy you said that too, sis, because I would actually agree with that statement. And that's why I'm kind of excited about this interview with you because I agree that you have not. Your body story and the way I talk about it and the way I have for many years, I kind of obsessed about, it's a very different story. So I'm really curious to see where this goes today. So let's get started. What's your body story, sis? And where would you like to begin? Where does your mind go right away?
I think my mind goes probably right away to just who I am. Like, I'm those that know me, I stand almost 6'1". I say 6'1" because I know I'm taller than six. And I, yeah, I mean, I think I immediately go into sort of like my height and my shoe size. I mean, I wear a size 12
Okay.
on the for sandals, but once I get into boots and whatnot, I need 13s. In fact, I've spent the last several weeks popping into many different Nordstrom racks looking for I mean, I immediately go, it's like, where's 12 to 13? Where's 12 to 13? And then
Yeah.
there's tons of 11s in those sizes.
So
So,
your body story, you think of your height and your shoe size.
I think of my height and my shoe size. I also think of my physical size. Like, at the start of COVID, well, actually in February 2020, as we all know, was
Okay.
a month before COVID hit. I had just started working with a trainer, but this is someone that I met who saw me swimming at the pool. And she saw that I was dedicated, but I think that her name's Imani. I think Imani knew that I could be doing more to get a better workout. And so she said,
Mm,
I can offer you a better workout. And then I also do other training. So it's really amazing that right at the start, I mean, who would have known that we were about to hit with the pandemic like that?
yeah.
I actually had several training sessions with her. I learned everything about proper way to do planks and so many other things that I could do on a daily basis that could be upkeep for your body, of course, in your boot camps as well. But what I learned from her preliminary prepared me for even your boot camps. So I just took the ball and ran with it, and I was active every single day. And I'm not really one to count pounds, not because I'm bashful about it, but I let it show on me. I'm like, the clothes that I buy, the way that I look in the mirror, I'm like, this is my sign that I'm doing what I need to do. And then also, people notice it. You noticed it. I mean, people
Mhm.
even close to you, people close to you notice that you're reducing. It's something
How
that,
does that make you feel, sis, when somebody gives you compliments? They notice a change in maybe your physical physique because of some extra work you're putting in. How do you receive that?
I actually, I mean, I like the fact that it's noticeable because it's
Okay.
like you work hard, you dedicate yourself, and the fact that that you feel it, you're seeing results, but the other fact that other people like can really see results is
Mm.
almost like you just know that that workout is really paying off. And I know I'm jumping all over the board, but I do think about
No,
my
that's why
size.
I
I
love these
don't.
conversations. That's okay. It can go anywhere you want it to, sis.
Yes, yes. I mean, at one point, after high school, moving to Turkey, um, that was like, you're young. I mean, I remember like when I think about my lifestyle then, the lack of exercise, how much I was
Mm,
eating and drinking, you
mm,
can drink at a younger age on base, it was just all of those things combined. I
yeah.
remember coming back from Turkey, and interestingly enough, even when I noticed that I was like heavier at my heaviest,
Okay.
like the truth is I was never unhappy with myself. I knew, I mean, I don't know if it was just like, okay, this is just my body right now. And I never
Hmm.
felt like, oh my God, I need to lose weight, or never felt bashful about having like a really like chowing down on some nachos or anything like that. I mean, even
And
if I was like,
I've always felt that from you, sis. Just at like so many different moments of your life, regardless of your size. You've always carried your body very confidently. And I just wonder, is that something that you notice? And is it intentional? Does it just happen? Like, how do you just carry your body with the mindset of, this is just my body right now?
well, I mean, and this is not, this is me. I'm definitely not trying to sound arrogant here, but I feel like at any place that I was,
Yeah.
I always was, I always felt attractive. I always felt
Mm,
attractive, or I still would, even when I was big and it was that I would still get, compliments from, you know, men, or, I didn't feel like, I mean, naturally when your body transforms, you do attract a different, you do attract even a bigger pool of
mm,
people. I mean, that's,
mm.
but we're not out here to just see how many people we can attract.
Yeah.
So I think in some ways I didn't feel like it really like took me out of the game or anything like that.
Mm.
Even when I was younger, I mean, when I was in Turkey, and Satana knows, we were cracking up. And I was like, why am I not more insulted? I think it was more
Oh my
because of,
gosh, this story. You have to tell this story, sis.
you know where I'm going. Okay, so in 2000, this was like January, I'll tell you the date. This was like
Oh,
probably January 20, this was the weekend of January 21st, 2005.
some
In
people are going to hear this and not find this funny at all, and that's okay.
Well, I mean, that is okay, but it's like if you understand language and you understand the globe, you understand that
Yes.
there's not always words to translate, because I can give another, the world, my global experiences are a huge part of my life. It's a huge part of my business and everything. So it makes sense for the body story as well.
Yeah,
So
totally.
me and Satana were just like having the time of our lives in Istanbul. It was cold. We it was just it was a combination of Murphy's Law, but also having like the time of your life. And so we had gone out, we had never experienced, we were in the big city on our own. Like Satana
Yeah.
was like 18, we were pretty young.
Yeah.
And so we went to this amazing nightclub by the direction of this cool DJ we met from Ghana.
Okay.
And so afterwards, everyone's like drinking, and everyone has to get some, they call it pide, which is like the Turkish pizza. And so we're like, let's get pizza. And so me and Satana, and then in Turkey, it was just like, I don't know, like the men were just, and it was like almost surprising. And I had actually put on a fair amount of weight in Turkey. Like
Okay.
I was even surprised.
I
Like,
remember, I think that was
you
honestly
remember,
probably your heaviest, sis. It
that
was
was
in
my heaviest.
Turkey. Yeah.
I'm pretty like, if I staying on this path, I will, it's not that I think about, I can never be that big again. I don't even think about myself at that size.
Yeah.
But with the lifestyle I have now, I'm pretty confident that I will never be that size again. I
Mm.
mean, I was probably wearing like, you know, I remember I had to, at one point I bought like a 22, for
Mm-hmm.
pants. And now I'm
Yeah.
like a 14, 16. And
Yeah.
I like, I'm fine with that size. Like if I were just a little more fine, but I feel like that's kind of where, I need to
Yeah.
be.
But for you to
Even
even
with,
go back to your original comment of any size you've been, you have felt attractive. You have felt attractive in
yeah,
your body, but for you to see how transformation, you can feel even a different layer of that attractiveness. That's what I find fascinating about your story as my
I mean,
sister.
that's true. And I think even with mom, like she always is so good about buying us great clothes and stuff. And she always knew how to like shop well for like the size that I was, or I mean, all of her daughters, she
Yeah.
always knew how to like, okay, I got you this really nice blouse, from Lane Bryant or something like that. And
Yeah.
at the time, that's expensive. I mean, Lane Bryant ain't no slouch. Like
Yeah.
that's expensive clothing. So,
Because it was
I
always
really,
important for us to feel comfortable in what we wore. But dude, we can get back. I want to get
okay,
back to
yes.
dressing.
So yeah,
You've got to
so the
finish the
story.
turkey
Okay,
story.
so we're in Turkey, and me and Satan are going in, and there's just like this table of guys, in Arab, not they're not Arab, but in like Islamic countries,
Yeah.
uh, there's a lot of big groups of men that hang out, and women aren't
Okay.
really the only women out were pretty much like like international women.
Okay.
So not that we were up to anything bad, that's just kind of how the
I
culture.
mean,
No, there
y'all
were
were
some.
young in a
We
city.
were young. There were some. No, actually, Turkey is pretty liberal. There were some young Turkish women out. Anyways, group full of guys. And, we walk in and the guy's just like, he's really kind of just all like, he seems like he's really into me. And then he's like, yes. And he's yelling out loud. He's like, yes, I love. And we're just like, okay. And of course, it's late at night. We're being, it's early in the morning. And, we're being vigilant. We're taking care of each other. And so
Yeah.
he's like, yes, yes. He's like, I love fat girls. And so I was like, oh my God, is he talking to you? Is he talking to you? And I'm like, dude, but the thing is, we start cracking up. I'm like, this dude. And
Because
I was like,
culturally, he was just probably in today's language saying, I like a thick girl. I want him a little
yeah,
thick.
it's not even today's language. The thing is, in other countries, like they don't use the word thick. That's like Black culture to be like thick.
Yes.
Now people get it.
Yes.
Because, everyone's, whole separates. But but even when I was in Ethiopia, and
Yeah.
they were, I was also bigger there. And like, they kind of like admire you if you have that weight because it shows that you have like, it's like a sign of like
Social class and
economics and
money.
stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember wonderful, beautiful nuns, one from Kenya, one from India, both spoke Amharic, just obviously kept their nunnery, kept their uniform stark white, never used bleach. I'm like, how do y'all keep it this white? So I was always blown away, like, just scrub. And I'm like, you guys, I've said it's God. I'm like, it's just, this is God. But they thought that was hilarious. They thought that was, yeah, they thought that.
Your outfit's so white because you're a godly woman.
No, it's amazing because it's like literally red dirt. There was red
Hold
clay
on, dude.
there.
Where's this
So,
story going?
so the point is,
Okay.
they called me fat. They called me nice and fat. They're like, you're
Really?
nice, you're nice. And I was like, here we
But
go.
see, sis, no, but that word, I think this is such a great topic because some people hear the word fat and it's triggering. Dude, as a teenager, if somebody would have called me fat, high school, college, even now, that is a triggering word to me. I don't know if I could take that as a word of endearing unless I'm feeling solid and strong in my body because of just my obsession with body story. I don't know if I could hear that and chuckle.
No, it's not a pleasant word. And
Yeah.
actually just yesterday in Nordstrom Rack, you know how I connect with people, right? So
Yes.
there was a lady next to me, and I had a sense that I knew she was Southeast Asian. I was like, she seems to be, and so she was right there looking at stuff, and so was I. And there was this pretty red and gold dress, and I pulled it out, believe it or not, to show it to her. I know I didn't even talk to her. I just wanted to be like, it seems like you would like this because I know kind of that's.
Hold on.
Do you know, sis? She literally was like, oh my God. When I pulled it out, she said, I was looking at. I said, do you know I pulled this out to show you? But
You
she's
pulled
Vietnamese.
out a dress to a random stranger just to show, because you saw it and you're like, this would look good on her.
Not even look good based off of like, to me, the way she looked and me have an understanding of that style.
Okay.
I feel like a stylish Vietnamese woman would wear this. It was like
Okay.
red and gold, it cuffed here. But the point I bring her up is because she was talking about her daughter, and she said, you should meet my daughter, she's Department of State. And she said, she's a strong, healthy girl, she's a big girl, she's healthy, she's strong. And then I said,
That's the language she used.
that's the language she used. And then I said to her, I hope you don't think I'm speaking. I said, I understand culturally what goes on sometimes in Asian communities. And I said, I bet you the people in your family and your friends don't let her forget her size. She said,
Mm.
never. And
Mm.
she couldn't. She said, they never do. She said, it's cruel. I said, and it's not right. She said, it's not right. It's wrong. It's horrible. She said, they always want to tell her size. And because again, she's a thick Vietnamese chick, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
Yeah.
so and because I know just from other friends I have with Asian mothers, I mean, women that aren't even big and how their moms tell them they're fat. So then she was
Mm.
really surprised that I had like made that observation without even knowing anything about the family. She's like, wow, you understand.
So what
And
do
I
you
said,
think about like, because we have friends of all different backgrounds, so we love obviously to talk about their mothers and their experiences because we are obsessed with our own mom. What do you,
oh,
when you
sis.
think, yeah, go ahead. I'm asking, like, when you think of your body story, sis, and how mom plays a role in that, what's that connection? Maybe in childhood and even now in adulthood.
Um, I just, again, back to that idea of like the way that she always kind of knew how to like dress and didn't ever, dress me for the size that I was.
Mm,
And again, it also comes back to like even in high school and stuff, people would always like, they love my clothes, where do you shop? And
mm.
I mean, it was just, and it wasn't like, oh, where do you shop for plus size? It was just like, whoa, where do you shop? And at the time, it was everything from, remember, Bells and so
Yes.
many different, like, JC Penney's. I remember not being a big fan of JC Penney's for some reason, but
Yeah,
and I
me neither.
mom and mom, she just, I think she, she would encourage certain things like, being more active. But I mean, she always made beautiful meals. Sometimes
Mm.
some meals were a little bit more rich. Like, she wasn't ever going to control. She would suggest things like, maybe
Okay,
for lunch, try this. It's a little bit lighter, when we'd be home for the summers and stuff
I
like that. I mean,
remember
but
that.
that's just any parent. I mean, you don't have, your kids don't have to be a certain size. You don't have to have a child that's a certain size to say you need to eat healthy, you need to put, and
Yeah.
so and
What
I
about now, sis? Like, how do you think? Because I think of you and mom's styles being quite similar. I can't tell you how many memories I have of being chilling, laying sprawled across mom's bed, and y'all are in that little hallway. She's pulling out blouses, stuff left and right. Ooh,
oh
Tiff,
yes,
try
oh
this,
my God.
try this. Ooh, try
Thanks,
this one
mommy.
on. Ooh, look what I just. What do you think about when you think about style and fashion and your kind of boldness and how you carry yourself in style, sis? How is that a part of your body story?
Yeah, that's true. I guess it is part of the body story. I mean, I think, well, I like the fact now that because I have, even through the last almost 2 years, have just gotten more active and whatnot, or I guess a year and a half. The time is just wild. Um, and I like the fact that I can share more clothes with mom, but actually there's times when I feel like, in a way, I was kind of able to wear something of mom's. Like, it was just
Yeah.
like, I was, even though I was like bigger, I was always, even yours, I could wear something. It was weird how that works, but
That's why
uh,
that traveling dress movie I made sense, or traveling pants.
I
That
need
made
to,
total sense to me.
I should look into that dress for my party.
Which one? The traveling dress? No, that's in my closet.
Is
The
it?
yeah, I have it. The purple one, that the one I wore
I've,
to Jason's wedding.
I've never even put it on.
Okay, you'll try it on. It might be the dress for the party. And you know what?
I've
It'll
never,
probably fit you better because it was a little long on me, so it's going to be the perfect length at the floor
dude,
for
I've
you.
never even put that dress on because, you know what? I think it's probably because it's the traveling dress, but I knew that I was like, it wasn't that I even thought about like, in my head, I'm like, I think I need to reduce a little bit more for the traveling dress. And it wasn't that it like crossed my mind, but I figured, let me put it on when I'm like sort of ready. And
Mm.
yeah, so I haven't really put the traveling dress
I'll
on.
bring it over next time I see you. I'll have it. You can try it on.
Okay, cool, sis. Yeah, that'll be cool. But no, I do think, and then like mom, I mean, again, like I think just from the patterns and the colors and the mixing things up,
Mm.
I do get a lot of that from mom. Now, granted, mom does think I sometimes do a little too much, and I'm like, mom, I'm an
Do you think,
artist.
hold up, let's talk about that because I think I lean more with mom that. What is doing too much? When it comes to
Perfect
you,
example. Perfect
yeah, what's
example.
doing too much?
So we're talking about the wardrobe for the party, and as you saw, I put for attire, totally optional. I put something colorful slash artistic and or whatever.
Okay.
Um, And so I got, when I was in the shopping district in LA, literally last almost a year ago, I had purchased this really sexy, it's actually like a bodysuit, but
Ooh.
it's kind of like brown and black, kind of a python. It's bell sleeves, it comes up here. It's a neat piece.
Ooh. Woo.
To be honest, I could wear it for Halloween, but it's
That
not, but I
sounds tough.
it is. And so mom's like, all you need yourself is some black pants and black. And I was like, mom, I was thinking about maybe hot pink, pairing it up with hot pink, like a hot pink skirt or something. And she's like, see,
See, I
this is
wouldn't even think about,
different.
sis, I would never even.
Or chartreuse.
And you know what it makes me think of? Remember that skirt, which I still haven't worn? I think I need to wear it with tights, sis. I'm not like
That
even.
cute python, that sis, that is so, that's crazy how cute that is.
And like even that, your boldness with that, just wearing something that fitted with that high slit and then like a bright, it's just there's this confidence that you've always had in what you've worn. And I just think it's such an important thing I want to kind of stay on a little longer because either there are women watching this that maybe their style is not something they put a lot of emphasis on. The fact that
Mm-hmm.
you're even talking to mom about what you want to wear to the party and the party's not until December, that is baffling to some people, but to us it makes sense. but like how style and how your mood and what you choose to wear and the statement you make just through what you put on, sis. I feel like that's just not as a designer, that's just who you've been. So can you talk a little bit more about maybe a thought process in what you choose to wear or how you want to feel or wherever you want to take that?
I would say, yeah, the how I want to feel. Because, obviously when I do my designs and whatnot, when I go to my clients, it's not that I put on the Ritz for my clients. I mean, there's something I wear to my client's home. Might be like yesterday I was shopping in Tyson's Corner. The outfit that I curated yesterday, which was I had on hot pink jogger pants,
Mm-hmm.
INC, not no slouches. And then I wore it with just black, like with like kind of black chunky heel, kind of like a wedge, like with a black wedge. And then I
Okay.
wore white tank top. It's actually the same outfit I wore to Cape Trinidad, except different shoes. And then
Oh, cute.
but then I put on a black blazer with it.
Ooh.
And I started to wear a hot pink and white scarf, but then when I put it on, I was like, this is too matchy with my pink and white. So I took that off, and then I opted for a solid black scarf.
Mm.
Um, and then yeah, and there was one other element to it, but I probably got like 2 or 3 compliments on my outfit yesterday. I
And
wasn't even
is
trying
that
to.
is the curation of that, sis? Do you do it from a mindset of a designer or the feeling of I'm about to go shop for a client at X furniture store? This is what I want to
I'll
put
tell you
off. What is the
I'll tell you what
thought
it really is,
process?
sis. What it truly is, you know how I am about waste and using everything and not. I'm even like that when it comes to my clothes. If I
Mm.
buy things, like I still haven't worn that nice blouse that I got at Chico's that day. It's similar to the one you have on, the
I
brown and
don't know
black.
why not. That blouse is
Well, I can
bomb.
wait, because it's like I'm still getting through certain pieces that I'm like, I still haven't worn this, I still haven't worn that. So I want to, I like to use some things, reinvent some things, reimagine some things, and really like exploit my clothing options. And
Mm.
you do that when, how's the opportunity to do that? Every time you step out, oh, let me try this, let me try that. So it's a combination of like being creative with your wardrobe. And then, like for example, tonight it's going to be DJ at St. X, a couple other things going on. So I'm like, oh, I just got these new like leopard pants, these new like Michael Kors leopard pants. And I thought, oh, maybe I'll, and then I
Okay.
was like, maybe I'll, or I'll keep it simplistic. And I just think that that's kind of part of the whole idea of
Mm.
getting together, getting it going. And it does represent like someone's artistry. It does represent, like, I'm not walking around like, oh, I'm an interior designer, I have a business. But when I do tell people that that's what I do, they're like, that makes so much sense. I appreciate that that's something that I can be. And it's not that I'm trying to be a walking brand,
Yeah.
but I mean, naturally, as my brand has grown, I've sharpened it a bit more.
And
But
I think that for business owners listening, Noel, that especially depending on what business you're an interior designer. Me
mhm.
even, I think a lot being like as a life coach and as a fitness instructor, for me, just walking out into the world, like not feeling pulled together, it just doesn't rest well with me. And it has nothing to do with, oh, you're a coach, this is going to make you more credible. This is the feeling I want to accomplish by what I'm wearing. Like I knew talking to you, I
Yeah.
was like, I'm going to be talking to Noel. I'm going to put on a silk blouse because it's going to align and match with your energy as my sister. So there's just more thoughtfulness. I think if women start to think about what they
Well,
put on
sis,
their body.
a heavily patterned blouse would have really hit.
Well, this will have to do. But I wish if people could think more about the feeling of how they dress themselves and what it means. Because, even learning about women that might have gone through trauma, how they choose to dress afterwards, what that says about protection and about, I just think when I think of your body story, sis, how you style and dress your body has just been very consistent part of your life, I think for many, many years.
Yeah, well, thanks, sis. And I do enjoy shopping. Some people overly consume. They buy something because it fits and they want it, but it's
Hmm.
like it just comes into a pile, and it's like, I'll
Yes.
be honest, like I don't. This might sound strong, but it's like I don't respect that. That's
Mm.
wasteful. And then all of a
Mm.
sudden, it's just like you look around. Oh, I don't want this. I don't want this, and then you donate it to Goodwill, and then that goes into a pile of other. It's almost like it doesn't. It's not wasteful. It's like look at before you, like everything I purchased yesterday are actual pieces that I need. Like I got like some cute kind of black like
Mm.
leather drawstring pants that have kind of a little bit of a sporty vibe. I
But to
got
that
some.
point, sis, I want to hit on that right
Yeah.
there for people that might be looking to fill a void, or for other people shopping, people, when people get abundance like that and feel that they need to collect a lot of things, I get curious and wonder, where does that come from? But it is exciting to see as an adult, as you evolve, and especially as you start to kind of reevaluate where you want to spend your money, how spending more money on key pieces that will
Yes.
carry you through different seasons, that you can change up, that are high quality, like that cute pullover that you put on with all the different patterns that you spent
Oh,
some
from
good money
Goodwood.
on. That's going to last you for years. So
Yes.
you're thinking of it as very wasteful, but that is sustainable, sis. That's better for the environment, just to buy these smaller pieces and wear them well and make sure they feel good on your body. I'm not wearing any clothes anymore that do not feel good touching my skin and my body. It's just
Yeah, no, it
uncomfortable.
is. Yeah, but no, it's true that clothing is a big part of my body story. You know what I mean? It is. It is. And thankfully, I can say that exercise is a part of it now, because before it
Mm,
was like,
it is, sis.
like
I'm
I
really
won't
proud of
even.
you. I'm
Thank you. I
really
mean,
proud of you.
thank you, sis. I mean, I'll admit I'm proud of myself too. I'm proud of the fact that it's like not even like a debate. It's not
Yes.
even like, I mean, it's probably been about since February of 2020, and we went to Puerto Rico for your retreat. It's
Yep.
been since about then. I don't think I've gone more, unless I was on a vacation, which our vacays are pretty active, swimming
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yep.
That I don't think I've gone more than 2 weeks without ever working out. And I mean, I would even say like 10 days. It's like I wouldn't even. My body's almost like no, no. And I like it. I love it. Even the other day when I got that flat tire, I was more frustrated that I was going to miss the last Zumba class till maybe February, because it was a great
Oh.
workout. I like the instructions. I mean, I was like, damn, I'm getting some dance moves and everything from this. And so
Yeah, that
I
mindset
literally,
of it's going to feel good to do it.
it's going to feel good. And I knew
Yeah.
I wasn't going to meet your boot camp. And I did not work out that day. And I was like, I have to get my workout in. So
Mm.
I didn't rush. I could only go, I have a freaking boot on my tire. I mean, not a boot, a bloody, what's the bit? Anyways,
Spare, one of those little
a
fake
spare,
ones,
yeah,
a
bloody
dummy.
spare. Yeah,
Dummy.
I got a bloody spare. And so I can't go over 50 miles out. So I was careful, but I'm telling you, as soon as I parked, I came in, I did a swing in and swing back out. And I was 6 minutes behind her starting lesson. And we went to almost 7 o'clock. So I didn't feel like
Oh,
I missed out on, I
yeah.
jumped right in, and I felt so good about that workout. And before, I was hungry. I could have easily been like, let me go eat a typhoon real quick. I could, because I already had in my
Yeah.
mind thought that I had missed out on the workout. I even called the front desk. I even called Paul, Monsieur Paul, and I said, can you please let Tanya know that I'm sorry. I really wanted to go to her
Mhm.
class. I just
Yeah.
got a flat,
Yeah.
which
So that, I
sounds
mean,
like
that just, for that to be such a priority for you, sis, that right there, I think a lot of people push fitness, and especially they see women working out, they think it's to lose weight or to do. It's like when your mindset can be about just the feeling that goes with it, and that is what it sounds
yeah,
like you have.
the
You're at
feeling.
the place of the feeling, sis.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
not even, yeah, because I've like, as you know, like I've already said, like I used to, the highest I was, and mind you, this was like in 2006, was like almost a 20, a 20 wide, or 22 at one point. I'm like, wow. But
Yeah.
now it's like, if I go out, if I buy a dress, I can buy a large, or like, it's like if I buy a large, or I buy like a 14, 16, and I'm good with that. I'm good with
Mm.
that. I feel like I can probably even, I still want to work on my mid area. Like I'll even ask you like, oh, I like to work on core. I was even the other day looking at other things like, okay, I want to work more on my core,
Yeah.
doing my, and I'm like, I need to stay on that. Even the other day, I was like, okay, let me do some planks, some low planks, some high planks. Cause I was like, I don't want to,
Mm.
um, that was because I knew I was had Zumba coming up that night, but I was like, I still need to stay. I didn't want to just use Zumba as all I did. I was like, I still need to get some stretches in. I still need to
Yeah.
just do a couple of like, more concentrated core things that aren't necessarily high intensity, but they're effective. And
Yeah. Oh, even
I'm
hearing you
really,
talk about it, you just talk about it with, I love to hear that it's just literally become a part of your life, sis. And you were already confident before. So I feel like having that strength, and the strength in your body and how you carry it and what you wear, there is a different layer now, I've noticed.
yeah. Oh yeah, I could definitely say that. I mean, I think that's going to just be naturally with anyone, with anything. And
I should have asked about your experience being like the tallest girl in class. Like, growing up and just kind of always being the tallest. We didn't even talk about that.
Well, I mean, it just reminds me of like a couple weeks ago, this guy at the bar was like, it was at JoJo's or something.
Okay.
And he was like, wow, you're like the tallest woman in here. And I was like, I looked and it was like one of those, I don't do TikTok, but it was like one of those TikTok videos where we're like, I'm taller than the men too. I'm taller than the men too. And that's what I said. And the music's all doom, 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 doom. Because the truth is, I am. Like, don't tell me I'm the tallest woman. I'm taller than you, sir. I'm taller than him, walking by him. And I was just like, him. And I'm like, don't tell me I'm the tallest woman. Like, pay attention. I'm taller than the men,
Oh,
too.
so you didn't even
So
take it as like he's
I was a
complimenting
little
me. You're like,
offended.
pay attention to details, buddy. It was less about, oh my
Taller than
God,
you, sir. Don't tell me I'm tall for a woman. I'm tall for a man.
I'm tall for a human. Wow. So
Yeah.
how do you
No,
feel about
no,
being so
that's right.
tall?
I'm tall for a human. Exactly.
How do you feel like, how do you embrace your height, sis? Because we're
I
Amazon
love it.
women. We just are. But
I mean, I
you're,
remember in high school.
yeah.
Okay, so it was also one of those things where mom, I noticed mom never really made it. She would say we're tall, but mom never made a big deal
She
about our
really,
height.
isn't that crazy? Because she's an
Never made
average
a big
sized
deal.
woman, but she never made us feel
Well,
like we were these.
mom thinks she's tall.
I know. That's a whole nother story.
Mom
But
thinks
she never made a big deal about our height, dude. She would have us
she
reach
never,
for stuff.
but then we would go to like little barbecues and functions, and they'd be like, "These girls are so tall," and so. And she'd be like, "Oh yeah," and so I think it was almost like I think in her head it was almost like I don't care how tall they are, I'm the mom, I run this. So
Yeah.
maybe that's where she had to like take her mind. And
Yeah.
of course, we would never think that we were ever taller than mom. But
Yeah.
I do always remember, like, just growing up, I would be anything from like at the mall or in the grocery store, and you know how it is with life. I feel like God sends little people my way. Just it
Yeah.
happens. It happens with a lot of people, but it happens like high frequency with me. You know
I
this.
agree.
Look,
It does. It's
like
very true.
yeah. So
It's an energy and like a power that you give off. So yes.
oh, thanks, sis.
You're
So
welcome.
people would every once in a while just come up to me and be like, oh my God, I hope you love your height. It would just be this like quick little whisper, mostly from
Yes.
like kind of older women or middle-aged
Okay.
women about my height. And even now, I'm not even kidding, even now, people are like, just statements like, and it's not that I'm out here it's not that I'm out here like out here competing. So it's like sometimes the statements are like, you can never get surgery for height. I'm just like, oh my God.
It's so funny, sis, because I'm telling you, I did not, real talk, I did not embrace and appreciate my height until I became a high school teacher. I felt that my height gave me presence, it gave me a bit of authority, and it made me feel a little more confident. But before then, it was something I was deeply self conscious about, especially in high school before all the boys went through their growth spurts. Because you
Yeah.
remember high school? Texas, them girls, we were giants. Girls were always solid and tall and athletes. So the women, I was always on the same level, like Nicole and Courtney. We were all just tall women,
Yeah.
Ebony, who else? Just a ton of us. So, but I didn't embrace that height until I became a teacher, young 20s.
I would say, I mean, I didn't really, yeah, in high school, there were moments when I would actually think to myself, like, if I was just a little bit shorter. But then again,
Mm,
all those little whispers, and it wasn't anything that I felt burdened by, but it was like,
okay.
again, all those little whispers just through life are just like, oh, that height is like, keep that height, or I hope you love your height. I
Mm,
hope you love that.
yes.
It would literally be other super tall women that would be like,
Yes.
I see you. Or it would be like, shorter women that would be like, God, how did you get that tall? Or
But
even
when it
men.
comes to jean shopping, that would frustrate and still
Uh,
does.
and you know what? Have you seen me with a super long? Actually, I had a long pair on the other day. That was Sunshine had given them to me. It was like some Fashion Nova jeans she ordered a while, and I was like, let me try these ting. But wow, they're actually. But I mean, just on some regular, and you know what? Even in stores, because I like to
Yeah.
still, shop in person. I have not seen the tall or the long jeans in a long time, and I'll ask, they
Extra
still.
long.
Oh, I don't need extra, just long, not even extra long.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the nerve to have, sometimes they'll have short or average. And I'm like, okay. And then following that is tall. And they're like, oh, we don't
Yes.
order
Yeah.
tall.
It is the big, and that has been since
I'm like,
my weight
what?
loss journey, sis. That has been my biggest frustration because I can fit now smaller sizes, but the length. So stuff will be flooding. You just got to kind of make it your own style. But
That's why I
that's
like my joggers. Like my joggers. Them thing does cuff around here. I
But when
mean,
did you get confident in your height? Like truly, truly love it. Even with all the nice little positive comments you were hearing through the years, when did you embrace it as a part of something you loved?
I would probably say ultimately when I did like maybe move to DC, because I it didn't used to cross my mind to wear a little bit of, because if I wear a little bit of a heel, I'm like almost 6'3". I'm like about 6'3" or something, depending on the hill. A little, I don't wear the heels that high, but
Okay.
if I
Yeah.
did wear high heels, I could really shoot myself up there. And I don't care now. I don't care about. And then I've dated guys that have been same height, taller and shorter. And I'm
Yep.
not, I do want to date it. I do want to do with a taller guy.
Your iPad went away, sis, but yes, I get it. I get it. And even
No, and
that's
it's
funny, a part of the tall woman journey and a part of the body story. I remember now it doesn't phase me, but I remember as a teenager being so frustrated, so shallow to even admit this, when shorter women were like, I need a tall guy. He needs to be tall. I'm like, you're 5'2". You can
yeah,
be
like
good with like a 5'7" or 5'8". But now
right.
I'm always curious when people, when they want their partner to be taller, like what is even that? Like, why is it important as a tall woman for your partner to be taller than you? Why is that something that you want?
It's I think it's if I combine the height with, people might assume I'm an alpha. I am an alpha woman, like through and through, not and I'm happy with it.
But very in tune with our divine feminine energy. Very much
Oh
so.
yes. But I'm an alpha, not in the sense of like I'm gonna be like controlling the whole scene, but
Yeah.
I know how to connect people. I know what's going on. I got, it's clear. So I think it's one of these things where I'm not necessarily like falling in love with alpha men. You know what I mean? I like a guy that's that you're a beta, maybe omega. I mean, you know what I mean? Those definitions outside of alpha, those definitions get really skewed.
Okay.
But I would say I definitely not no pushover and someone that speaks up, but I need a guy that's if I'm already going to be an alpha and you're not going to be an alpha, because it's like I'm probably not going to fall in love with you if you're not, if you're a hardcore alpha. Um I know that sounds crazy, but I just know my
No, it
experiences.
doesn't. To each his own, mama.
I know my experiences.
Yep.
Alphas end up being a lot of fun, but
Back to the
back
story.
to,
Remember, sis, this is for a larger audience. It's not
yeah,
just
true,
you and
true.
me.
Okay, dale, dale. So but I would say I like being with, I like the presence of being, and I've had, lovers that have been incredible that are not my height, but
Yeah.
I like that extra layer. It's almost like that physical is, I'm gonna need the physical, the
Mm,
alpha, the physical can be alpha. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
the personality and the demeanor. You don't need to necessarily be an alpha there, but I need your stature and
Yes.
the way you can like take physical presence and stuff. I like that
Yes.
alpha. Maybe we
Yes.
sort of look at, are you a physical or are you like a, like, because
But that's important, sis, because I think if you're a more solid woman, there is something different when it comes to intimacy and lovemaking where it does feel good to kind of have that dominant size.
oh yeah, I mean, it's like not everyone can pick me up, but some definitely can. So it's almost like,
Okay.
I, you know, I mean, you gotta be strong then, but
Oh God, I just had a memory. But go ahead, sis.
so I mean, but I mean, that is like that's very intense. That's like an amazing thing to be like picked up
Yeah.
by your lover,
Mm.
and that's not everyone has that capability, and it's not because not everyone's that strong. It's just I'm 6'1". I'm over 200 pounds. You know what I mean?
Are you,
Like
sis?
over 200.
How does it make you feel to even say your weight? Like some women, the thought of saying their weight is just like, oh,
I mean, I feel like anyone who can even, you can look at me. I've literally had guys, I guess they think it's cute, be like, so you're probably like, I'm like,
hold
okay.
up, hold on.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time,
They'll
but I
try to
think
guess your weight.
it's been a long time, but it's sort of, it's happened. Not
Girl.
on some, I think it's more of just like, wow, you're strong. Like, dang. It's more of just like, it's not on some, because I've even had it, again, it's been a while, but for some reason, I think it was contextually. I know it sounds crazy just to hear it, but I feel
Yeah.
like contextually,
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
it
Like
came
maybe there was
down
other
to like,
dialogue.
yeah, there's other, it's almost like the whole Amazon thing. And like, and I'm like, I could have been one of Gaddafi's bodyguards. Not that I would want to.
Oh my God, sis. Okay, so can I get back to the physical aspect of your size and what you prefer? Like when it comes, do you find that you're more turned on and you appreciate sex more if your partner is stronger in physical stature?
Um, hmm.
Like for your body story, for you to feel best, like what makes you feel best?
You know what? In that category, I've had so many like special experiences. Like, a guy that I was, seeing for a while, he wasn't my physical height, and
Okay.
he wasn't even necessarily like a really thick, solid person, but very strong, very beautiful physique, very strong, very lean. So I think just the combination of like him and the way he physically, and like, I mean, completely like flawless skin. Um, Also a wonderful person, so a nice spirit to have in the, literally in the bed with you. So there
Yes.
were so many things about him that I found admirable. Even, I mean, okay, so we're talking about like a bigger guy, but he's very strong, but didn't have like a lot of body fat or anything. And so
Hmm.
he was so quiet the way he would like, he would get out of it was almost like I said, he moved elegantly. It was like,
Mm.
the way he would get out of the bed. I mean, he could get out of the bed, use the bathroom, and he was so quiet and like would almost move like as quiet as a cat. And and also because he wasn't big, he never made any sound. Like he was silent. He was a dead silent sleeper. I
Okay.
mean, no snoring, no breathing loud. And I do believe because of his size, I think he was able to move that elegantly and sleep so elegantly. And it really was like a pleasure to rest with him, because it was just, he was just so like healthy and lean. And he has like a, really beautiful physique, but he wasn't like a big dude, tall dude at all. But he definitely was.
But sis, even hearing what you're saying, you know what just popped in my head? When women are dealing with their own body story, I wonder if they wonder what their partner, like everything you just described about your former boyfriend and kind of all, just kind of how I wonder if partners think that way and if this adds that layering of why women we unpack our body story the way we do because of those type of like what does it mean to be physically a certain size? What does this mean to the partner in your life?
Oh yeah, right, right. Like even him, like there were times when I would literally sit on him because I knew he was strong. So I would just sit on his lap and be like, "Is this a lot for you?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, it's okay." And I'm like, "This seemed like it'd be a lot," but I think he was being sweet and like.
Yeah.
But there was times I'm like, "Let me get up because you're not gonna give in," And it wasn't that I was trying to test him, but he really did seem okay. But in my head, I'm like, I've sat on other laps that seemed like they were more substantial to hold me, but it didn't make me feel like it didn't make me feel
Mm.
any kind of way. But I just remember I'm like, he was just so, like a lot of people turn on from intimacy and stuff like that. And that was a part of it. But just the way he just moved so quietly and elegantly, because some people are just, they disturb their partners, they're loud, they're inconsiderate, they're
Yeah.
snoring, they're making all these honking loud noises. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. It
Oh,
is. And I actually think because we actually did rest so well together and like like just connected so well, we were okay. Like I'm someone, when I'm asleep, I don't need to, you can spoon me all night, you can cuddle with me, I don't feel like, oh my gosh, I need my space. For some reason I don't feel that way. Like
mm,
I'm okay with comfort. If you, because there's some people like they feel like they have to have a part of them touching you
yeah.
at all times, and I'm okay with that. I'm actually okay with that. But if
Wow.
you're making hella noise, it's just like, dude, that's a little.
See, and that feels because like that's a part of the body story. Some people have those kind of they got stuff going on. They're breathing differently, they're sleeping differently. So it's just it's so like
Well, part of
even
my body story is I had to have a nice, restful, connected rest with someone
I
that's.
realize that's really I've been with a man who snores, sis, and I realize for my own best slumber to feel rested and most rejuvenated, who I lay next to makes it has a big role in that and how I feel. That's a
Now
really
I
good.
will admit this: there was someone that I dealt with that did actually snore in it for it was like, it wasn't like that I rested with them that much, but I didn't. I don't know if it was maybe the connection, but sometimes I didn't mind the snoring, which is like pretty psychotic.
Oh my God. Our conversation went all over the place, Noel. What do you want
Oh,
to?
but before I forget this, back
Okay.
to the Ethiopia thing with the nuns. The reason I brought that up because it comes back to language.
Okay.
So when they had said I was nice and fat, I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh. And I said, we don't really, I wasn't insulted, but I just wanted to let them know. I said, in English, when we say fat, it's not really, people don't feel complimented. I'm like, it
Mm.
doesn't really compliment people. They
Mm.
feel like it's an insult. And they're like, no,
Okay.
no, no, no.
Oh.
Like, what do we say? What do we say then? Because I guess they need a word. They need to say something. So I said, what about like thick
Or
or
healthy.
see, I don't want to say healthy because it was the orphan, it was like
I
the mother.
gotcha. You're right.
So
Yeah.
I said, what about thick? And they're like, they both start laughing. She's all, not thick. Thick is for cloth. Thick is for cloth. And I'm like, so in their heads, they associated the word thick with like an innate object, not a person.
Yes.
And so it
Yes.
does come back to like language and just, and so, and it almost makes me wonder now. I mean, again, I was heavier then. I don't even, it almost makes me wonder, like, I'm taller. I'm not like so small, but I don't know if I would be perceived in Turkey now as like a fat girl, or maybe I would. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't think
Interesting.
I don't think I would necessarily because again, I was definitely like, I was several pounds heavier there. And I just,
Yeah.
even like photo, I mean, it's like sometimes you'll look at photos and it's like, I don't look at photos and feel like, oh my gosh, I'm never disgusted with myself. I'll be like,
Yeah.
dang, I was a really good size at one point. That's all I'll
Yeah.
say to myself. I'll be like, I was really good size, but I don't feel,
Yeah.
because I
You.
think about what my life was at the time. And I'm like, I was still having a great time meeting people and,
Mm,
friends, but you can see the difference now. But I think it happened when it should have. Like the fact,
yeah.
it's like I don't mind that I feel like I'm peaking in my mid 30s. I feel like this is
Mm,
around the time that, not to judge, but for me in my life, this is when I was meant to peak. I didn't need to.
mm,
I mean, I think about women in high school, and I'm not trying to dog anyone, but I think about people in high school and they were peaked, their physiques and everything.
yeah.
They might have been peaked there. And it's like, of course, motherhood and stuff like that. But you can see how in some cases, depending on where you live, you can be a little bit more complacent with like what you're eating and how often you're
Mm,
working out. Of course, you start having families. And so I realize I'm like, I feel like maybe this is happening at the age. Like I know I don't have children yet, but I'm like, maybe this is time for me to get myself ship shape, whether it's
mm,
um just building my career, building my business, and then working on myself physically. So then it's like when the time does come for motherhood or something, I actually am stronger. It's like, yeah, I'm helping
yes.
having children later, but it's like, but I have a healthier lifestyle.
Mm,
I'm more, and then of course, partnerhood, you have time to learn this is the type of person I want to have a child with
yes.
versus just, oh, I fell in love with this person in my 20s. And so it's like now going into it, I think my body story will turn more into like a successful life story just because I've had time to sort stuff out.
What would you say to a young woman that might watch or hear this, sis, that you'd want to leave her with to think about?
Huh. Um, well, I mean, I think that would really depend on what they would need. So I know that sounds like generic, but
No.
someone might say, like, for example, with food, for example, even though I was heavier, um, I didn't feel, I think there was at one point in the late 90s, 2000s where people were just, this revolution, the food revolution wasn't on.
Yeah.
So
A lot of
it
stuff has
wasn't like,
changed.
yeah, it wasn't like there was just this whole lot of healthy options and like I'm
Yeah.
over here choosing this and that, or
Yep.
like, and mom did cook healthy meals, you know what I mean? Compared to like,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember there was a point, I haven't eaten McDonald's in dang near 2 decades, but there was a point when it's like you go through, you would literally, everything was $1. You'd literally pick up a double cheeseburger, a freaking spicy chicken sandwich, fries, and a soda, and it would literally cost, not even to be funny, it would cost 4.20. And and because we had a laugh about it. And
Yes.
and that was like a meal that I mean, that was just like you didn't even really think about it. I wasn't even thinking.
Yes.
You knew that I was like, this is junk, but I guess at the time it was
You're
good.
like, it's
Uh,
cheap, it's quick, everybody's doing it.
but I would say, if someone feels like food is their situation, I mean, I don't know if it comes down to clothes. I mean, I think ultimately it does come down to confidence. I know it's cliche to say, it does come down to personality and personhood.
Mm,
Even the other day when I was at the Dion Cole show, he was kind of all over the place, but he did say this message that I thought was good. He was referring to, he's like, women these days, he's like, y'all are putting so much into your bodies, into your hair. And he's like, and you're doing all this he's like, and you're just sitting there and you're just sitting there perched up and you're not saying anything. You're not doing anything.
mm,
And he's like, but your hair looks beautiful and this is that and this is right. And he's like, but you have no conversation. You have nothing going on. And
mm.
he was like, it's the ones that he was like, the ones with the split ends, they're having the time of their life. You can't
Mm,
get enough of them. They're joyous. And it's not comparing that to be so glamorous. You have to be this and that. But
yeah.
that the story was ultimately about personality and personhood and sharing yourself, and don't make yourself generic. And I would say for
Mm,
women, I would still say, even though there's still body shaming, I would still say the bigger revolution is on big girls side, is like pretty much more on our side, because
mm.
now I'm seeing commercials. I don't watch much TV, but if I watch my little news or something, but I have seen commercials, I've seen advertisements that are like, not only are they making it about like, oh, bring in more people of color, they're like, I want to see different body types. So I think now that we have really, nothing has been fully, figured out, but now that we have done a lot with like diversity and like seeing like, more Asian people, obviously more Black people, and,
Yes.
obviously the more, you know, multi ethnic backgrounds.
Yep.
Now you're starting to go into bodies, which is what they really need to do as well. Bodies and
Yes.
abilities. Like I saw a commercial with, a surfer with like one arm. And
Yeah.
it was an advertisement for like, it was like a medicine. And I was like, that's what's up. They're not just
Yes.
making it about, oh, choose. So that's
Yep.
also body image as well. So imagine an amputee or someone who was born
Yep.
without a limb, and they're like, oh my gosh, I just saw a commercial and it has nothing to do with being with limbs or prosthetics.
Yes.
It has something to do
But
with
the fact
whatever.
that we even make a big deal out of it, that shows that we're just barely scratching the surface with what or
We
how we're
are.
even thinking about our bodies and what's normal and what's not. Just the fact that we're having this conversation about that on a commercial, you know?
Exactly. But I mean, I think so. I mean, it really is going to depend on where someone, and I'm fine to give you can share my info, sis, if someone sees this and has like a specific question for me. I mean, I'm happy to
Oh,
just
yeah.
talk to
I'll be
someone
putting all
directly.
those details in the description.
But I just think that being yourself, and in terms of like body story, does, because body is also like your physical presence being somewhere. And these days I'm just hearing a lot of generic conversations, and people just are being afraid to just go a little bit deeper, because
Mm,
I don't know if they think people won't understand. I don't think it's that. I just think that people feel like they have to just kind of stay right with the main crowd and stay in the main shallow pool with people. But it's like, don't be afraid to go deeper, touch in on a topic, reach out for something, because
mm.
there's probably other curious minds, and start that intellectual exchange. Like, we're focused too much on everyone getting all gussied up and sitting around and like checking everyone out. But it's like, okay, what happens after we look around and say, okay, this is a good looking crowd. Now what?
Yeah.
It's like, we don't need to just sit here and sit around and
Yes.
be like a nice looking crowd together. Like, let's have a conversation.
Yes.
And that's why I like to, back to the where I like to physically put myself, is I like to be around artists. I like to be around musicians. I like to be around
Mm,
these sort of settings, because these people tend to also be open-minded. They're not afraid to go there and take it there. And they do
mm.
wear interesting clothes, and they do wear, um, and it's almost like, just the way people walk in themselves is part of
Yeah.
their body story. And so to
Yes.
see someone else's confidence, that might make someone say, hey, I can listen up. I can sort of, it's just that that
Mm.
that communication, that nonverbal communication. It
Yes.
all makes it all makes a big deal. And I do feel like I've gotten a lot of that from both of our parents, just that idea of
Yeah.
like, where you can connect with people easily, but you also can like pick up on energy and say, okay, this is what the space needs for
Mm,
people to feel comfortable. And
mm.
I'm grateful that I have it. But physical body language, body story, all of that comes into play, because you're looking at how people are postured, and you're
Yes.
trying to sort of deconstruct, okay, like, what does this need for people to realize, like. And that's why, I know I keep going on about my party, but that's why the part, like, the party is, it's not just like, oh, everyone's getting together and drinking. it's more of like, it's that body story, like
Mm,
the combination of people that will be there.
yes. Yep.
Just by default, you're more like someone with social anxiety. Like, I almost encourage people with social anxiety. Like, some of my friends are like, I don't know. And I'm like, it's almost like when you can go into a setting like that, you can almost feel comfortable because you can sit there and be totally quiet. No one's going to mess with you. You can just come in there and be as boisterous or as toned down as you want to be. And it's like, you're
Yep.
accepted, you're accepted.
That
And
acceptance is the key. That acceptance, not feeling left out.
yeah, oh gosh, no,
Mm,
there's just no way. I mean, for me, it's like, there's no, but that's the type of people that I like to surround myself with, even though these are some people I haven't seen for months, even over a year, it's changed. I'm just, so I think I'm talking about the party, not because I'm like, oh, I'm throwing a party. Yeah, come to my party. More of like, it's time for us to experience like some positive vibes and energy with people and like really be around
yeah.
some good energy, not just a bunch of people like, oh, I just got this invite to this thing.
And that's this, I think, to bring this full circle, your confidence in your body story and how you move in the world and carry it really can be influenced by who's around you. And so I think being so inclusive and welcoming of everyone and their fullness in the human body that they live in, that is something that you do by default naturally. So to even hear, to leave some of this gold with people that are going to hear this, I'm really grateful, sis. Thank you so much for sharing your body
Oh,
story. I know we went all over the place, but that's how these go, and I love it.
yes. And the last thing I will say about that is like, we think of body, we think again, size, shape, height, but yeah, it's that all encompassing.
It is.
It's it's your style, it's your and it's kind of like, and some people will judge not even just your size, people will just judge how free you are or how
Yes.
conservative how like closed in and sheltered. If someone
Yep.
comes looking super dowdy, super homey, people will knock that. If
Yep.
someone comes with just a strip of tape here and there, I mean, that's just, yeah, people are likely to say something about that. But if someone comes wearing something really, really risque, people are going to talk about that. It's
Yep.
almost like, what are you guys saying? You have to just stay right there in the middle to not be
And it's
discussed,
like there's no win or lose. So figure out what is your story, what feels good, what's a part of
and
you,
yeah,
and
and
live
stick
in
with
that.
you.
Because people are
Because
always going to have something to say.
yeah, it's
Always.
only for you. Exactly. It's only for you. And it's not even for your spouse because the spouse is going to meet you in your body story. I mean, you'll shift, but
Mm,
they should meet you where you are too. It's like, you
yes.
might wear something that they like, but you have your body story when you meet your significant other and you
Mm,
just grow with that. But they have to get on board with you too.
yes. Ooh. Well, sis, we talk about this stuff all the time, but you did share some. I love this because you did share some new things that, just as a inquisitive interviewer and as a journalist, it was nice to learn some new things about you. So thank you so much. I appreciate you, sis. Thank you.
Thanks, sis. Love you. And I appreciate the invitation. And sorry, did anyone want to see what this art looked like? I'm just kidding. It's just a little cool and a bit. All right, but no,
Bye,
that's all.
sis. I love
Edit
you.
worthy. Okay,
Bye.
love you, sister.